Um, Hi, how's it going today, Jacob? Ready for the interview?
Yes, I believe I am confident I can provide a lot for this company.
Alright. What position are you interviewing for?
The position I'm looking for is an accountant position.
Alright, well, what made you want to work for this company?
I've always been really interested in numbers work like accounting, and I think this company can really allow me to flourish in that regard. This also seems like a stable company to go into, as its financial history has typically looks quite positive, quite good.
Alright, so what experiences do you have in this field?
I spent 4 years at Missouri State University working for a degree in finance. I also have a few internships under my belt at a handful of companies.
That definitely sounds like you have the expertise for the job. What strengths do you have? Is there anything that's difficult for you to do?
I believe my strengths definitely exemplify the field of work I'm looking to enter with this interview. I've always had a knack for just being able to sit down and get something done and just get through it. This also sort of leads into the weakness of mine. It can be difficult to leave things undone, even if it's for a mundane purpose. Whenever I have unfinished work that I know needs to be done eventually, it's always itching at the back of my mind, and it's really mentally uncomfortable to not be able to get that done.
Well, it sounds like you would fit pretty good at the accounting job you're looking for. Few more questions. If we were to ask your last job about you, what would they say about you?
Well, I fully finished my internship at my last job, so I doubt there's any negative attention there, officially anyway. On a more personal level, I believe they would have very little to complain about. The manager of that internship said I was one of the hardest workers he'd seen in a while, and that after all the work I had done was completely satisfactory, and that all the work that I had done was completely satisfactory.
Everything I've heard so far, it sounds like you'd be a good fit for the company. Your resume that you submitted seems to align with everything that you told me. Looks pretty decent. You got a good education, job history, general experiences. Do you have any questions?
I do have one question. What will the average time frame of when I work be? Hours, what days I have to work on, etc.
Since you're just starting out, it'll be every other day, but with enough time at the company, you can expand your responsibilities. Same goes with hours, you can spend them as time goes on. If that's all your questions, I think we can conclude this interview. Everything from you is looking very promising. I'll review your resume plus what's happened in this interview, and in about a week, you should get an email detailing that you've got the job or not.
Thank you for your time, sir. I'm looking forward to seeing what your decision will be.
Okay. I'm probably not gonna be able to figure out how to cut that out.
Hello, Alex. Good to see you today. Are you ready for our interview?
Yeah, I'm ready to do this interview thing. I've never had much of a job before, so it's a little well.
We're writing script.
Okay, well, what kind of experience do you have for this job?
Well, I finished high school and then I worked at McDonald's for a few months, so I have some experience.
Before we move on, I have to ask something. I couldn't help but notice the resume you submitted is handwritten. You know the proper way to create one is digitally and then print it out, right?
I didn't know that. I can fix one over here.
Alright then, well, what position are you interested in?
I haven't thought about anything specific yet. Just thought we'd figure it out during the interview.
Okay, well, you should know that you should have submitted it for a position that was shown wherever you found it.
Yeah, was just shooting for accounting position. I always had pretty decent scores in math when I was in school, so I figured I could be a good fit.
Alright, let's talk about something else. If we contacted your last job, what would they say about you?
Well, I got fired from my last job, so they probably wouldn't have many good things to say. I think they would say that I was decent at my job, though. I was the same level as the other people working there. I mean, it's pretty hard not to do your job at McDonald's, but I mean, I just forgot to show up every so often, and so they fired me.
So, this is kind of an interesting interview, but before we close this off, is there any questions for me?
Nah, I got everything.
Okay, well, I'll look over everything we talked about and your resume, and in about a week, you'll know if you got the job.
Alright, sounds good to me.